Hey, what's up, everyone? Let's get into number 14, Standard 14. This is talking about American imperialism, the Spanish-American War. Um, so take a look at this picture. This is, of course, the American eagle with its wings spanned across the globe. This is to show that the United States is not only the master in the United States, is trying to be the master, the eagle over other parts of the world. And remember, the United States started off as being victims of colonialism, British imperialism, and the United States fought the big War of Independence against the British from 1775 until 1783. So, if anything, America should have sympathy towards people who are victims of colonial powers. But, the United States, they span from sea to shining sea. And how did they get it? By conquest. So, this is kind of an extension of it, if you think about it. Imperialism, empire, think empire. What's an empire? A big, powerful country. In actual terms, expanding control beyond your own borders, beyond your own boundaries. So when you extend past your own country, that's practicing imperialism. You are an empire. Isolationism is where you want to isolate yourself and you don't want to expand. Just a couple words here. To be a patriot, to love devotion to one country's nationalism, where you devotion to the interests or culture of one's nation, but jingoism. Now, this is usually a belligerent form of nationalism, like a chauvinistic patriotism. So, like a nationalism in the form of an aggressive foreign policy, jingoism. So, remember what the Monroe Doctrine tried to do, that we talked about a few standards back. This is the United States, and this is a bat, and they're telling other countries, get out. We, the United States, want to control this part of the world, North, Central, and South America, the Western Hemisphere. In the United States, this baton is telling other countries, in this case, Spain, to move back. So where was Spain? Well, Spain was in the Pacific and also in the Latin America, the Caribbean. So the United States basically picked a war with them. There was a ship that blew up called the Maine, and the United States blamed the Spanish. And a bunch of journalists went along with it because it was selling newspapers because it was so dramatic. There was so much drama. Oh, the Spanish bombed the United States ship that was in Cuba. It actually wasn't. They did explorations on this and found out that it blew up by mistake. But the United States wanted to pick a war with Spain to get Spain out of the Western Hemisphere, and here was their chance. So they just went along. The US said, good, we got the media on our side. Let's do it. Let's go to war with Spain. And they did. They went to war with Spain. They easily kicked out the Spanish out of Cuba. The US, the Rough Riders campaign to invade Cuba to get the Spanish out. And there was a lot of Spanish that were glad, but also they became pretty much a subservient, pretty much colony of the United States. They didn't call it a colony, but the United States controlled its politics. So the Philippines also, now this is in the Pacific. This is on the other side globe here. And this is the United States. This is their step one into getting involved in Asian affairs. Later, the United States clashed with Japan that we know about in World War II, and right now with China, North Korea. So McKinley gets assassinated as well. Don't forget that. And McKinley is one of the four presidents to get assassinated by Leon Kolgosh, an anarchist. So who doesn't believe in centralized government? In this case, they thought the government was utilized as a tool to keep the rich rich. And he killed McKinley. Now take a look here. Look at this cartoon. This is Uncle Sam. And of course, this is the President McKinley here, following the Spanish-American War and in response to American policy illustrated in a cartoon to the side here, the United States quickly became involved in another war because it refused to grant their independence to the Philippines. So the Philippines, they put up a fight against the United States. The Philippines actually wanted to be independent, and the United States fought a long war, brutal war, with a lot of war crimes against the Filipinos. So, like, they set up camps, detention camps, concentration camps, killed about 1 million people. give or take hundreds of thousands of people. So take a look here, the Panama Canal. So this is the United States going to the other side of the United States for the Panama Canal, and this is after. So how did Teddy Roosevelt, he's the new president since McKinley got assassinated. Teddy Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt is the new president. And here's how he did things. At one time, Colombia and Panama were the same country. Well, Colombia didn't want to play ball when the U.S. approached them and wanted to build a canal. So what did the United States do? They didn't just outrightly invade Colombia. What Teddy Roosevelt did is he broke off this part of Colombia, said, "Oh, okay, people from the Panamanians live here. Well, we're going to create a new country called Panama, and they're cool with us. Then we're going to create a treaty with them. And then they'll let us make the canal through there." So just Colombia didn't want to play ball. Roosevelt broke off Panama from Colombia. Colombia does play ball, and later the canal was built. So, speak softly but carry a big stick is what Teddy Roosevelt said. He expanded the Monroe Doctrine through something called the Roosevelt Corollary, in which the United States used military force to promote its economic interests. So the United States, through the Roosevelt Corollary, said that, hey, look, we are willing to use force if we need to. Look, don't make us do it, but we will if we have to. So here's the United States and eventually Japan. The U.S. clashes with Japan, of course. But the Philippines was the United States, was kind of their footprint that they set foot in there in Asia. So Roosevelt stressed the importance of conservation. Here's Teddy Roosevelt with a bunch of other countries here, or in the countryside here. And of course, here they are. Here he is in the countryside as well. All right. Remember, the U.S. opened up this way too with Japan through this type of trade, what they call gunboat diplomacy. This is the 1850s, going back a little bit further. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and wrap this one up, and I'll see you all.